Pretty simple. Technical difficulties. That's why you have a roadie.
You know, technical difficulties sometimes do arise. Yes, they do. First of all, thanks, Dominic. Give him a hand. Everybody give Dominic a hand. Fantastic facility. A great place for music, not just drums, which is what I'm here to talk about. Music. not just drums. Even though this is a drum clinic, we're going to talk a lot about music. Because it's what I do for a living. I play music, I teach music, and teach drums. I've been doing it for a while. Won't tell you exactly how long, then you may figure out how old I am. Joking. But it's been a while, 30 plus years probably. And I live in New Jersey. I work in New York City, I work in Philadelphia, and I work in New Jersey. And I work here in St. Helens. Isn't that cool? I work everywhere. I work wherever the music goes. I work wherever people ask me to come and do a clinic performance. And there's a lot that goes along with that. Not the least of which is responsibility, being able to be on time, being professional, being courteous, being respectful of the music, all of those things that are really important to your development. So we're going to talk a lot more about that, the business, music, as well as some coordination and technique and blah, 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 kick, snare, bass, bing, bop, boom, all that stuff. Coordination is just that. It's a tool. You need it. But my philosophy is don't be a magician, be a musician. Understand what I'm saying? You don't have to be a magician up here. You don't have to be a technical genius. You have to be a musician, not a magician. There's a lot of magician drummers these days who can do a lot of great things and pull rabbits out of their floor toms. I tend to play music, although, yeah, I can do some stuff. It's kind of a showy kind of stuff. I never get a chance to do that live. That would never happen. Sometimes you get a little something, but not much. Not much. Most of the time, you're locking it down. You're playing a groove, you're playing a style. And it's very important that you respect the music and not, take liberties that, you maybe would do in your practice room, but not on a gig. Everybody know what I'm talking about? How many guitar players are here? None? Good, we can talk about them. Joking. We're going to talk about everybody. How would you like it if the guitar player soloed over the whole verse? Yeah. It's been done, right? Well, you know what I'm saying? So you put the shoe on the other foot, and you're playing a groove, you're playing music. Let's take a song that I've had the pleasure to play with the artist, I Will Survive. Everybody know that song? Everybody know who Gloria Gaynor is, right? Well, I played and toured with her for about 3 or 4 years, and everybody knows the song. First I was afraid, I was petrified, etc. and so forth. But then the groove kicks in, right? And this is how it goes. It's a house beat, it's a disco beat, and you have to play it with authority, you have to play it. You gotta make 20,000 people bounce, basically, right? What if I was to do this? And, Can't dance to that, can you? But you know what? There's guys that do stuff like that. Every 4 bars, they throw a fill. Wait a minute, 8 bars, time for a fill. Who is Phil? Why does he play so much anyway? That's what I want to know. Tell Phil to stay home. So, my point about this whole thing is sometimes in education, and YouTube is great, and sometimes we get it twisted. We like to eat the ice cream before we eat the main meal, So we go for the dessert first, and we go for all this technical mumbo jumbo, but we fail to eat our vegetables and eat your peas, mushy peas, matter of fact, which I really love. And eat, foundational food, eat good food. So we're going to talk about how to develop a beat and the variety of beats that are out there. And the best way for me to do that is to do it in a song, don't you think? Don't you think?
Yeah.
Good. I like feedback. I'm a guy from Jersey. I want to say, yeah, man, play me some music. Let me see what you got. Okay. Adam, how you doing, young man? Great to see you. Adam came to New York City and studied with me for a little while. well, not just me, but over at the Drummers Collective, where I used to teach. Yeah, so we're going to do a track, Mr. Dom. This is a song called Jazz Police. It's by a writer named Gordon Goodwin, who's based in LA, who did a lot of writing for the Grammys and stuff like that. And this is like a grooving big band. It's sort of like what I'm doing now with one of my bands in New York called the NYC Big Rhythm Band. And we do grooving big band charts, but not your traditional big band, more like a R&B big band. But this is like a rock and roll big band. This is a pretty cool chart. And there's some opportunities to do some filling in, but I think for the most part, you're going to hear kicks, you're going to hear the beat lock in with the rest of the band. I hope that's going to work, okay? So let's try that. You maybe want to... Here we go. Let's make sure everything's battened down the hatchets here. Okay, here we go. Sorry, and here we go. rock and roll big band. That's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I'm just keeping the beat, but there's some time to fill in. You gotta fill in a little bit because the music calls for it. Setting up very much like a regular jazz big band. You know, for example, still got see, drums is a matter of inches, literally. 1/2 an inch one way means stick goes flying. Okay. Or cymbal gets caught in rim, not good. Okay, so setting up, right? For example, if you got something that's on an and, a band hit on an and, right? You're playing all of a sudden, right? The whole band is doing that. Could be swing, could be straight eighths or whatever, right? That's the most important thing to do, is to kick that with your bass drum. But you can set that up a little bit by using perhaps a little fill. You go 1/8 note before that. That's simple. One little 1/8 note. See what I mean? So instead of playing 1/8 note, maybe a flam. That fattens it up a little bit, right? Keep going 1/8 note before, 1/8 note before, and you can set it up a little bit more and a little bit more. But it doesn't have to be a big, tremendous fill. And I think sometimes drummers get tied up in it. I can't do a lot of fills. You know, I can't do a lot of that filling and stuff. 1/8 notes, greatest thing in the world. 1/8 notes, 1/8 note toms, 1/8 note little kick here and there. I studied with a lot of drummers, really indirectly, but some directly. The great jazz drummer Peter Erskine. Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah.
When he was in Manhattan, and when I was coming up, before he moved to LA, I used to go to his apartment, and he let me tag along with him and go to see some gigs and stuff. And this is kind of just to wrap up this little section here. And he sat in with the Mel Lewis Big Band a few times when Mel was sick. And it was like Village Vanguard, 2 in the morning, you know, 3 in the morning, and I'm like, oh, wow, here we go. You know, and he's bang. Bang. He's setting up all the kicks. Great jazz drummer, right? So after the set, he comes over to the table and I said, man, Peter, you know, you're basically sitting in here. You know, how did you get all those kicks? Because it's the ones I didn't get that you didn't notice. You know, I just got the important ones. So, you know, you gotta learn how to pick and choose. Even when reading and sight reading, people ask me that a lot. You know, how do you know what to do and what not to do? First of all, when in doubt, groove, no matter what. Just keep the groove, whether it's a swing groove or if you don't know where you are, you know, you can't all of a sudden say, get playing soft and say, where are we? You know, everybody's depending on you. Guitar players, they're still no guitar players here, right? They can turn down. They're really good at that. I don't know what this is. Oops, solo? Okay. Drummers, if you're here, right, all of a sudden you start dipping energy. What starts to happen? The band goes, you all right, man? Right? They notice. Why? Because it's loud. And it's driving the bus. You're driving and everybody knows it, you know? If you drop a stick, it's like, whoosh. Because you're a one-handed drummer all of a sudden. Everybody knows a one-handed drummer, you know? Because they're used to hearing, all of a sudden they're just hearing, Jim, Pat dropped the stick again, right? So you're in the spotlight. You know, you are gonna be in the spotlight. You are in the hot seat. You are in the driver's seat. So it doesn't matter necessarily what you play. It's how you play it. You feel me? If you're gonna make a mistake, be wrong and strong. You know, because everybody makes mistakes. You know, but the thing is you have to be pronounced. And when you're practicing, don't practice something softly. Play like you know, you're not playing Madison Square Garden. I understand that. But practice, you know, strong so you can hear what you're playing. You know, the thing is sometimes people practice and they practice like, I don't know how to do this, so I'm not doing this. Oh yeah. And they got it, you know what I mean? You can't be that way. play as if you know this, like for eating this for breakfast, okay? Play strong, like play confidently, because you can't turn confidence off and on. You can't turn, are they coming to get us? Is it spaceship? Yeah, well, yeah, now we're talking. Ready? Welcome to the Drummer's Lounge. Okay. Anyway, I choke them up over here. What I'm trying to get at is you can't turn confidence off and on. You feel me? Confidence has to be there. You can't get on stage and all of a sudden, I'm confident. In the practice room, I'm not confident. You have to be confident all the time, relatively, not cocky, but confident that, okay, this is where I'm at. I'm going to lock this down. I'm going to play this beat as well as I can for as long as I can. When you learn something new, approach it confidently. Okay? Good tip? All right. So let's get away from the kit. Let's go over to the pad and then come back to the kit. And then pad will be gone and then we'll stay on kit. If there's any questions ever at all, just say, how'd you do that? And if you don't tell me, I'm going to beat you up. Okay? Just ask a question. There's no such thing as a silly question either. No such thing at all. Okay. I play matched grip. They call it matched grip because one hand does something different than the other now. Because they're both matched. They both are playing like this. This is called the silly grip. No, the traditional grip. It's called traditional grip because, see, when the marching drummers had the drums and the rope drums, you know, in the Civil War time, it was over here, or even the Swiss, you know, Swiss rudiments, the basso drummers, and, you know, that's why they hold a stick like this, because the drum was at an angle, okay? So, not that it's not important to learn to play traditional grip, it kind of is. I used to, but I don't anymore. I think I pretty much decided, my teaching philosophy is, pick a grip and get good at it. Don't be mediocre at two grips. You know, pick a grip, stick with it. You know, I've seen guys, oh, no, maybe I could play it this way. No, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I'll do it this way. Then it's also this way. You know, pick a grip and stick to it, you know. So I just pretty much decided, I think, I was playing traditional for a while still. When I did Patti LaBelle's gig, I played a few rehearsals, and I had to tell you, I had never really kicked it to that notch till the lights went poof. And I said, about halfway in, I lost 10 pounds. And I said, oh, it's like that. Oh, I get it. Why wasn't it like that in rehearsal? So after a few gigs, I was like, oh, no, I need to play like this. And I just pretty much decided this is the way I'm going to play. I'm going to play match grip. I'm going to get comfortable. Everything from the position to my setup and all that. So I stick to match grip. And here's what I do. Here's some warm-ups. Some of these are from my book and DVD, Hands, Grooves, and Fills, which is a Hudson Music product. Some of these are kind of drum corps exercises, too, that I learned. But I think you can remember these. They're not that hard. I basically warm up with eighth notes. As you can see, I don't just play with my wrist. Can everybody see me? Yeah? Am I in the dark? No? I don't just play with the wrist. So I'll do eighth notes with one hand, other hand, for a while, then both hands. And I feel like I'm dribbling a ball. So as you can see, even when I slow down, I'm moving in time. You see that? I'm not like, right? I'm flowing through it like water. I'm flowing through the motion. If I want to play slow, I move slow. Then I want to go, sort of like I'm dribbling a ball. So if I was to dribble my stick, I'd be doing this. And when I go faster, I go faster. I go slower. See the motion here? So I kind of like to move in time. I think the biggest fallacy is drummers play with their wrists. I mean, this is all connected. So, you know, if you separate your wrists from your forearms, you can kind of hurt yourself. This is all connected, so you should let it all flow together, okay? It's like trying to walk without bending your knees and only turning your ankles. Right? It doesn't happen. When you walk naturally, so. And I've seen, you know, youngsters come in and play, and I say, here you go, here's how you hold the sticks, and I show them, now, just play, you know, play me a quarter note. And they just pick up the sticks and go. Naturally, you know, they don't go. Naturally, that's not natural. Or they don't go. That's not natural. You understand what I'm saying? It's like if you pick up a hammer, except don't tell that to Dominic about picking up a hammer, right? We had this discussion in the car. Me and hammers and him and hammers, let somebody else do it. But if you pick up a hammer, you don't think about the technique of it, do you? God bless you. You don't think about that. You don't think about turning my wrist at 45-degree angle and hit nail. You don't think about that. You just pick it up and you go, and you do that. Same thing. You just hammer that thing. You don't think about, maybe I should use more finger when I hammer that nail. Okay, it's the same kind of thing, you know? As long as you have a pivot point and your fulcrum. Now, when you're on the ride cymbal, you do play thumb on top. You go to the bell, you play palm. So, but the motion is still kind of a bouncing motion, okay? So I try to use that natural rebound. Then I'll do 16th notes. And I'll take these 16th notes and do an exercise like this. I call it 5-5-3. 5-note groupings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 3-note groupings, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Not triplets, but just 3 notes. 2 semiquavers and a... Thank you. I call them 16ths and 8ths, but thank you for translating. Okay, so the exercise is 5-5-3, 5-5-3. Right, feel that? You want to try it on your leg? Good. Come on, drummers, let's give it a shot. We'll go nice and slow. Ready, go. 5-5-3, 5-5-3, 5-5-3, 5-5-3. Cool. Now you notice I'm alternating. I see some people going. Right hand lead. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Alternations is very important to this exercise. You've got to develop both hands. Ready, go. 5-5-3. Then left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. That's a little harder now, isn't it? Right? And now do this. No. Okay. So now let's take that up a little bit. You don't have to. I will. I'll spare you. So you just take this and you're trying to develop that hand-to-hand coordination so that the left hand matches the right. And I'm just going to kind of get this going a little bit. And it's all bouncing, really. Okay? The second part of that is 4 5s and 2 3s. 5, 5, 5, 5, 3, 3. 5, 5, 5, 5, 3, 3. Want to try that? 1, 2, ready, go. 5, 5, 5, 5, 3, 3. 5, 5, 5, 5. Make sure you're alternating. Right. Okay? So you got 5, 5, 3, 5, 5, 3, 5, 5, 5, 5, 3, 3. Everybody got that? If you don't, you will by tonight, trust me. So I take that and try to get it up there, and I maintain it, because the whole thing about technique is endurance, really. You want to just do it consistently. Even if it's slow, don't stop. Keep fighting through it. And sooner or later, that muscle memory will kick in. 5, 5, 5. That's when people are sleeping, you play a pack. Challenging. All right, there you go. 5, 5, 3. There you go. Now move it around the drums. Very simple. That alternation helps you move around the drums. Just take that exercise and move it around. Motion, same approach, like I'm using some forearm pushing. You see what I mean? Because you got to pull the sound out of the drum. Got to pull the sound out. Okay. So that's one Simple little exercise, 5-5-3. Just remember that. Let's get into diddles, paradiddles, double paradiddles, paradiddle diddles. You all know those, sort of, pretty much? Okay. So sitting there practicing a paradiddle for an hour is kind of boring. Would you agree? As is double paradiddles or paradiddle diddles. Kind of boring. Okay, got that. The next step is you got to put them together into rhythmic combinations. Okay, that's the hard part. Combining them. Like, why else do you do them if you're not going to combine them? So if you do something simple like 2 paradiddles, 2 double paradiddles, 3 double or 4 double paradiddles. So we got paradiddle, paradiddle, double, 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 double. Right? Just putting them together. Or a paradiddle, 2 paradiddle diddles and a paradiddle. That will go like this. Paradiddle, diddle, paradiddle, diddle, paradiddle. Okay? So once you know those 3 rudiments, you can put different combinations of them together, even if they don't make rhythmic sense at first. Just sit there and go paradiddles. Okay, double paradiddle, paradiddle diddle, paradiddle, double paradiddle. Just do that in your head as if somebody was telling you when to switch. You know what I mean? It doesn't even have to be a set pattern necessarily. I have a bunch of them in the book, but you can do this on your own. So my challenge to you is, rudimental people that want to get your hands better, don't just stick on the one rudiment. Put it together a little bit, especially with the 3 diddles. Okay? Questions? Guys want to ask anything about technique at all? Okay. Let's talk a little bit about rolls. Double stroke rolls, baguettes, soft rolls, hard rolls, jelly rolls. Okay. Bagels. Okay. So here's how you develop some nice 30-second stroke, 30-second note bounce rolls. First of all, that goes back to that relaxed grip, okay? I hold the stick with my thumb, first finger, middle finger. Let the stick kind of bounce in here. So the first thing to do is to try to get some nice, relaxed, double bounces happening, okay? Not, right? But some nice, delicate, Picasso-like double bounces. Relax, okay? Let the stick wants to move, okay? You don't control the stick, you control the rebound of the stick. That's deep. Think about it. The stick thinks it's in charge, but it's not. I'm still telling it what to do. It's just bouncing a little freely, and I'm giving it its freedom to move, okay? So, you play 16th notes, and then you try to double bounce them. 16th note rebounds, double bounce them. 2 beat rolls, 1 beat rolls, 5 stroke rolls. This is all based on 16th notes and bounces. Drum corps exercise, very simple. Okay? But if you've got that flowing motion of your hands, just try to let it bounce, okay? Slowly. And they don't exactly have to be the same. That's not the point. You don't have to be equal and the same. They can be a little bit uneven. Nobody has perfect rolls, and that's not the point, actually, because nobody's sitting there with a calibration machine and can show your roll is 100% perfect. Smoothness is the most important thing. So when you play here, I should be working a lot harder. It's a lot of notes. I should be working a lot harder to do that, but they're kind of doing their thing. I let them go a little bit. You know, if you move in motion, the doubles can happen, and then you can just practice sitting there while you're watching. I don't know, whatever show that great producer wants to do next. The next great drummer, what's his name? Simon Cowell. Whatever show he produces, just sit there and play double strokes. Next great drummer, that's what it is. That's what it's going to be. Okay? And just kind of like push, like you're dribbling that ball, and try to get some doubles. And then 16th notes and rolls. Okay? So we covered that. We covered single strokes a little bit, double strokes, and diddles. I mean, yeah, there's a lot more stuff to do. There's flams, flam accents, flam taps, the whole flam family. But if you can do singles, doubles, and paradiddles, double paradiddles, paradiddle diddles, that will really open you up on the drum set. Okay? Question? Yeah?
Sorry, yeah. When you're tickling your doubles, how much are you using your fingers to control that movement?
I'm not using my fingers specifically, no. Watch, I'll even take them off completely, and I'm just going to hold the fulcrum with my middle finger first and my thumb. See? God forbid I lost these 2 fingers, I could still play. Because I have a balance point. And I don't physically work my fingers like this. You know, some people say, you know, you need to do finger exercises. Develop those muscles in your fingers. There's no muscle in your finger. There isn't. Ding, 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 light bulb. There's no muscles to develop. There's tendons and there's stuff like that. When you're playing, you're not thinking, okay, fingers now, okay, maybe no fingers, maybe wrist. So I don't use them really at all. I can feel the stick bouncing off my ring finger, yes, for sure. Am I physically pulling it? No. I'm just squeezing, actually, the fulcrum, which gives me the pressure I need, if that makes any sense. When I squeeze the stick, if you squeeze too hard, you get that. If I don't squeeze at all, I got no fulcrum. So somewhere in the middle, and that's called touch, right? And it's called touch for a reason, because it's how you touch the stick. It's how much pressure you put on it and how much you don't. That has a lot to do with the velocity as well. If I want something extra strong when I whip, I can do a whip like this, just without squeezing or changing the squeeze. Now watch this. You hear that? That's light. Squeeze. Same motion, I just added that little tweak. Yeah.
What I find, I try and play as relaxed as possible all the time, especially with doubles. When I crank up the tempo, I mean, sort of 180 BPM maybe, I find this gap between the thumb and the first finger getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah,
smaller.
Squeezing it off, right?
Yeah, squeezing it off. Is there anything you can advise on? Because you just, when I take going around the kit, you know,
yeah.
doubles, and you can just feel it. Maybe it's tensing up a little bit.
Are you squeezing with your first finger?
Both, I'd say.
Yeah, I would say if you didn't squeeze too much of the first finger, that wouldn't close the gap up, and if you did more middle finger.
Right.
And that, where you hold the stick as well. Like I hold it in the second knuckle line. Yeah. Okay, and if I'm playing a roll, if I turn my thumb in, I'm closing the gap. If I take my first finger off just a little, and I'm holding it a little bit more with the middle, that gap tends to stay a little bit more open. So
I do that with my left hand. The first finger comes away a little bit, and it just helps relax.
It does, and that will, yeah, and that'll take the tension off of it. So that's that pinch. That's what's going on. You're pinching that first finger, probably. So yeah, I do tend to relax that first finger a bit, yeah, and maybe just get in that knuckle, but it's mostly here. The middle and the thumb, because the middle is the biggest finger on your hand, and it's the most, that's the grip, you know, that's where you can really get the most grip. So I tend to hold it there and then just support it with the first. If you're overdoing it, you could close that gap up. Okay, any other great questions? Anyone ask on technique? No? Okay. So I want to show you a couple of fills before we work on some more tracks, okay, while I'm here, especially this paradiddle diddle thing. We know what that is, right? Here's a cool fill that you can utilize around drums. So we're going to do some more in a little bit, but I want to kind of segue that into this. Paradiddle diddle, and on the last note, we want to substitute the bass drum. So instead of paradiddle diddle, we want to do paradiddle tap bass. Do you see that? So, okay, you could do a straight paradiddle diddle around the drums. Matter of fact, the paradiddle diddle is probably the most versatile in jazz. That's a paradiddle diddle as a sextuple, that's all. Straight application, but now I'm going to substitute, watch. That sounds pretty cool, right? substitute the bass. So there's one little direct application of a rudiment for a fill. Or if you're playing a hip-hop thing. Useful. Paradiddle diddle. And instead of the last note being a diddle, drop it on the bass. Pretty cool little substitution. So yeah, there are some direct applications, but you know, people ask me that too. Do you directly apply rudiments to drum set? Sort of. It's really more of a facility thing. When I work on my diddles, it's to help me with my ghost notes. There's a lot of soft doubles in there, right? So when you work on your diddles and that stuff, that kind of helps you in the groove. You know what I'm talking about? I don't say, here's my paradiddle beat. Here's my double paradiddle beat. I'm not trying to make fun of it, but it doesn't sound very musical, does it? It sounds like you just took this and plopped it on the drum and said, go. So this really wasn't meant to be directly applied. I think once you get the facility, you can. Rolls, of course you can. Short rolls. The 6-stroke roll, perfect. You know a 6-stroke roll. Right. Okay, which will now seg me into perfectly some grooves, because there's a great groove that we all should know in our groove history, and that is Motown. Everybody know Motown? Yeah, the Motor City. Okay. Well, if you know Motown, you will know this song, and it starts with a 6-stroke.